Handshakes and smiles all round this afternoon. But the first question new manager Martin Allen had when he arrived in Kent today may well have been, where am I going to train my players? The Gills were told this week that unless they paid back spiralling debts to Medway Council, they'd be forced to pack up their boots and give back the keys to their training ground. So how did the club fail to pay £30,000 in rent and utility bills over the past 4 years?
Yeah, I heard about that last night for the first time. But I've made my feelings very well known to the Chief Executive of Medway Council this morning. He is sending 3 officers in to talk with me this afternoon to try and put right the wrongs that they've gone through. I'm still very upset by it, very angry by it. But I will meet with them this afternoon and the matter has been resolved and will be resolved.
Gillingham have released almost a side's worth of players since the end of the season, and the club has twice hit the headlines over refusals to pay bills. So is there any money in the coffers for the former Barnet manager to spend?
Yeah, we've got millions to spend on new players. Lira, that is. We've chatted about it, of course, with this chairman at the helm. I think he's sort of ridden it through. There's some difficult financial times. It seems now as though it's at a time where it can kick on again and move forward.
Certainly, if Martin Allen can get the Gills out of League Two, he'll be considered worth his weight in gold. Sarah Saunders in Gillingham for Meridian Tonight.
Football managers wear their hearts on their sleeves, but few are more passionate than Martin Allen. Today, though, he appeared mostly relaxed and in good spirits. He takes over from Gills legend Andy Hessenthaler, who remains at the club as director of football.
I don't normally get jobs like this, to be honest. Normally I get recruited when clubs have had a relegation and it needs a big change and a big turnaround and starting from scratch. But I think Andy Hessenthaler has done a good job here. So it's a real challenge for me and something majorly different from what I'm used to add a few players and try and take them from 8th place up into challenging to go up. And that's a nice challenge for me.
Martin Allen is part of a large footballing family. His father, uncle, 3 cousins and son all played professionally. In all, Martin made 376 league appearances, mostly for QPR and West Ham. Before moving into a colourful coaching career, Gillingham will be his 9th managerial post. And Chairman Paul Scally admitted he believes his new manager has mellowed.
It's no secret that I met Martin a few years ago and interviewed him for a role perhaps 7 or 8 years ago, and I was hugely impressed then. But it scared me a little bit, to be fair. But I'm a bit more experienced now, and he doesn't scare me anymore.
Having narrowly missed out on the playoffs in each of the last 2 seasons, Martin Allen knows promotion is not just expected but demanded. He's up for it. Woe betide anyone that gets in his way.
New manager Martin Allen sees the Gills welcome Bradford to the Priestfield, and the club chairman says he's hopeful of success under new manager Martin Allen.
We would be failing in our duty if we weren't trying to get out this division every season. So I'm very, very optimistic. I think we've got a very good management team now. Very excited by what Martin has brought to the club. I think we can see that in the spirit of the players and the way they've been playing, and their fitness levels are improving, and I'm very optimistic that we'll have another very good season.
Bristol City in the League Cup don't exactly see eye to eye. They'd won just 1 home tie in 9 years ahead of the meeting with League Two Gillingham. Coming up, a bizarre handball by Liam Fontaine, literally lying down on the job. No David James these days. Dean Gherkin, the goalkeeper, beaten emphatically by Gills skipper Danny Kedwell. Into the second half, and a corner by Charlie Allen, son of manager Martin, saw Tom Flanagan's shot poked in decisively by Ben Strevens on debut. Marvin Elliott scored a consolation for the Robins as they went out to League Two opposition for the 3rd year in a row.
Outstanding. I thought Tom Flanagan was outstanding. I thought Andrew Frampton was outstanding. I thought Jackman was outstanding. Montrose was outstanding.
It seems Martin Allen's trademark enthusiasm is already rubbing off on Gillingham's players. Andy Frampton's flying header was brave and required a breathtaking save from Bradford's Matt Duke. To aid their quest for a playoff place, Allen has asked for a leaner, meaner Danny Kedwell. It looks like he's got it. Kedwell's improbable finish gave the Gills a half-time lead they deserved. The striker got another from the penalty spot after Charlie Lee was brought down by Will Atkinson. Kedwell, who also got 4 goals in pre-season, has 3 in 2 games. Allen's pep talk doing the trick. Bradford found it tough going at Priestfield, but they did pull one back 8 minutes later. That also came from the spot after Naki Wells was too quick for Frampton. Wells' penalty also too accurate for Stuart Nelson. Gillingham restored a bit of breathing space late on. Miles Weston signed from Brentford on Friday. With 2 minutes to go, he showed what his new manager sees in him. The Gills were good value for their 2-goal cushion and might have added to it. Bradley Dack is a young midfielder with an eye for goal. The post denied him the best possible Football League debut. 2 wins and 2 impressive performances under Allen so far. The manager was also canny enough to let others take the credit.
I thought the crowd had played their part today. And when you win 3-1 at home, it was a gut feeling, I suppose, to step out of the technical area to the edge of the technical area and thank everybody in this main stand and the Rainham end, and just thank you for, like I've just thanked the players, making it a special day.
Better news for Gillingham, who held on for a narrow victory away at Wycombe. Joe Martin side-footed the only goal of the game shortly after the break, after Miles Weston's free kick came back off the post. The Gills were under pressure when Tom Flanagan was harshly sent off for a second bookable offence with 15 minutes to go, but the Kent side did manage to hold on for their second win in a week, bringing them up to joint top of League Two.
Thunder, lightning and torrential rain was the order of the day in East London as Gillingham continued their impressive start to the season. Dion Burton here with the opener on the half hour. Gills keeper Stuart Nelson can consider himself a lucky man to have not been dismissed for this foul on Dwight Gale. And it was the young striker Gale who got up to score the Daggers' first league goal this season. Gillingham had the best of the second half exchanges and deservedly went in front through a goal of real quality from Miles Weston, who's already proving to be a great acquisition for Martin Allen. The Gills' 100% start to the season was threatened when Abu Agogo just couldn't find a way through with this late header, but Nelson stood firm to secure Gillingham's first ever win at Dagenham.
Well, Oxford and Gillingham hold the 200% records in N-Power League 2 so far this season, with Cheltenham just behind them. And there are 5 teams at the bottom, all on 1 point, with Barnet bottom as they've got the worst goal.
A showbiz welcome for the 2004 League Cup winners Middlesbrough, as Tony Mowbray took his side to inform Gillingham, who were looking to claim another championship victim. The Kent club set their stall out early, Danny Kedwell going close. But Borough refused to go the same way as Bristol City in the previous round. Mustafa Carriol taking the bull by the horns to smash Mowbray's men into the lead midway through the first half. Having got off the mark for his new club, the former Bristol Rovers winger went searching for more in the second half, this time scything his way through the Gills' defence before scraping the post. His solitary strike appeared to be enough, but right at the death, Cameron Park made absolutely sure with a sublime finish. In the words of his manager, job done.
I thought our team acquitted themselves fantastically well. I think it shows when all the supporters give them a standing ovation. Having lost at home 2-0 and every supporter stands there and claps at the end. It just shows how well we did play, and for the second half we totally dominated.
Tommy Wright took charge of Chesterfield for the first time after John Sheridan's 3-year reign was brought to an end this week. An early managerial casualty after relegation from League One was followed by a winless start to the season. Well, the change appeared to have made an immediate impact as Craig Westcar volleyed the Spyrites into an early lead. But Gillingham were back on level terms just 8 minutes later. Miles Weston swung in the cross and Danny Kedwell applied the well-directed header. The Gills had plenty of chances to preserve their 100% start to the season, A miraculous goal line block from Terrell Forbes denied Dion Burton. There wasn't enough time for the Gills to take advantage of a second booking for goalscorer Westcar. 1-1 it finished, and Martin Allen's men go top of the table.
All crowd saw a minor cup classic last night as Crawley beat Gillingham 3-2 in the Johnson's Paint Trophy. Bradley Dack put the Kent side ahead early on with his first senior goal for the club. The game then went one way and then the other before it was sealed by Scott Nelson with an absolute pile driver 4 minutes from time to put Crawley through to the next round of the cup.
Mr. Allen would not have wanted his new team to show his former employers any sentiment on his behalf, and they didn't. 2 goals in a minute gave them early control at Underhill. Jack Payne's execution from long range was superb. And before Barnett could recover, Charlie Allen will have pleased his dad in the dugout by providing the assist for Danny Kedwell to double the advantage. But the home side didn't buckle, and former Southampton youngster Jack Saville scored his first ever goal to quickly provide a positive response. But a player at the other end of his career restored Gillingham's 2-goal cushion as 35-year-old Dion Burton finished in typical style to ensure his team would remain top and Barnet anchored to the bottom.
Just like the game against Barnet, Gillingham were quick off the blocks against Bristol Rovers. Danny Kedwell catching Tom Parks cold, teasing a 4th-minute foul from the Pirates' defender to earn himself the chance to score in a 3rd successive match. No problem, the Gills in front emphatically. And there was soon more bad news for Rovers, enduring their worst start to a season for a decade. Kedwell widely credited for a goal which actually appeared to be flicked in by the unfortunate Parks. Adam Virgo's desperate intervention too late. Gillingham are enjoying their best ever start to a campaign, and Martin Allen's men were out of sight by half-time. Charlie Lee's header meant the Kent club could look forward to a second-half cruise. Rovers played better after the break, but only the home side had a goal to cheer. From Miles Weston's cross, Chris Whelpdale topped off the success. 5 wins from 6 in the league, and the manager more than satisfied.
So it's good to get a clean sheet, score 4 goals, and sometimes that's worth an extra point. So well, it is worth an extra point, isn't it, to be honest. So.
Seven games into the League Two season and Gills fans are probably pinching themselves. The side is unbeaten, top of the table and led by the manager of the month. Last night there was another win for the Gills. Ian Palmer.
It was Danny Kedwell who scored the first goal, and that's how it stayed. The penalty came after Bradley Dack was judged to have been brought down. Not long after, Dack was sent off following a belligerent passage of play. And this was arguably Southend's best chance of a fight back. But in the end, the night belonged to Gillingham. 19 points from 7 games and top of the table. The Gillingham manager couldn't ask for more.
So, as we said, great start to the season for Gillingham Football Club. I'm very pleased to say that Martin Allen, nicknamed Mad Dog, joins us now live from Chatham. And fantastic result last night. 7 games unbeaten. Best start to the season since 1897. It's easy, this management lark, isn't it?
There's a lot of hard work gone into it, to be fair, for the staff, for the players, and all the backroom team at Gillingham. It's been a lot of hard work over I think it's about 2 months now, 9 weeks maybe since I've been here, and the results have been fantastic. Supporters are really getting behind the players, and it's all very enjoyable for sure.
And the team are playing brilliantly. I mean, last night a win over Southend despite being down to 10 men.
Yes, that's right. We had an injury after 5 minutes, and we put on an 18-year-old substitute, a lad called Bradley Dack. He came on and done very, very well, but unfortunately he got sent off just before half-time. And so being 1-0 up with 45 minutes to go, we had to defend, and we defended valiantly. Everyone stood up to a man. The crowd was singing their hearts out right through to the very end, and we managed to hang on, and it was a great win, it must be said. It was a great 3 points.
And as we said, I mean, it is the best start that the club's, well, ever had, realistically. Is it too early to start thinking about the playoffs and promotion?
Well, I think there's two questions there. Is it too early to start thinking about the playoffs and promotion, or promotion? The only thing we've got thinking about is promotion. We must all realise now that we're in a good position. We've got a very, very good squad. It's not just 11 or 12 players that have been playing. We sort of make about 5 changes every game. So no, the aim is to get up, and there's 3 places to aim for, and we've got to aim for the first.
OK.
There's no stopping Martin Allen's league leaders at the moment. Just ask their hosts, who could have gone top if they'd won. Port Vale had no answer to US international Robbie Findlay, signed on loan from Nottingham Forest yesterday. His partnership with Dion Burton had its reward after just 11 minutes. And Gillingham stretched their lead soon after. Joe Martin won the ball, and then it was left to Chris Whelpdale to turn on the style. Into the second half, Jennison Mari-Williams' free kick drew a flying save from Stuart Nelson, but Gillingham extended their record run to 7 wins in their opening 8 games.
Well, that's been a great start. Yeah, I think we made about 5 or 6 changes to our team that played on Tuesday night. We've got a very strong squad. We've got faith in the whole squad. And it was a great performance, it must be said.
Martin Allen warned his side this week that every team would come to the Priestfield Stadium with the desire to knock the Gills off their perch. The league leaders failed to heed his warning on 15 minutes. Andrew Tutt with a deflected strike. The division's only unbeaten record was threatened further when Danny Jackman was shown a straight red just after the half-hour mark for this challenge on the Rochdale goalscorer. With the Gills 10 men pressing, Dale skipper Tutt made his 3rd major contribution of the afternoon. A fine ball to pick out the run of Bobby Grant, who was given 2 bites of the cherry and took the second. It was his 4th goal in 4 games. The hosts were given a lifeline when George Donnelly was adjudged to have pulled down Chris Whelpdale in the penalty area. And substitute Danny Kedwell stepped up to confidently stroke home his 6th goal in as many games. Gillingham threw bodies forward, and a scampering Donnelly took advantage of the space left behind. No doubts about the miss of the season so far from Grant, but what a win for Rochdale.
Gillingham lost the only unbeaten record in N-Power League 2, but are still 3 points clear at the top. Port Vale keep up their terrific start with a win at Bradford, while newly promoted Fleetwood sit in the top 3 after they beat Barnet. As for Mark Robson's men, they stay bottom of League 2 and are now the only team in the 4th tier yet to taste victory. As we just mentioned, Dagenham and Bristol Rovers both got their maiden wins, and Wycombe's caretaker boss Gareth Ainsworth lost his first game, and they now sit 2nd from bottom.
Having lost for the first time on Saturday, League 2 leaders Gillingham were in determined mood. Veteran striker Dion Burton put them ahead. After the break, Jack Payne made it 2-0 with a sweet shot, and Gillingham were good value for the win, even though Gill's old boy Adebayo Akinfenwa headed a late goal. Neil Bell, BBC South East Today.
Oxford keeper Ryan Clark was the star man at the Kassam. He kept out Danny Kedwell and Adam Barrett early on in a game of near misses. They weren't all Gillingham's. Alfie Potter struck the bar as the U's became the first team this season to stop the Gills taking all 3 points away from home. Clark was the main reason for that. His good day continued with a flying stop from Dion Burton. The goalkeeper will have enjoyed his afternoon. Clark was dropped a couple of games ago. Only injury to his understudy brought him back into the U's side. He denied Burton again in the second half, earning Oxford a draw and proving a point to his manager. And it seems Martin Allen was impressed too.
I had to check the team sheet to see who that was in goal. I thought it was Gordon Banks. Well, what are you laughing at? Their goalkeeper was unbelievable. He made some unbelievable saves. And when everybody in the ground must have clapped him, our Gillingham fans, I was clapping him in the technical area. It was... damn him. He was fantastic.
After a run of 5 straight defeats, the Aldershot hierarchy had come out to publicly back boss Dean Holdsworth. No such worries for his opposite number, with Martin Allen presiding over Gillingham's best ever start to a league season. And Allen Senior enjoyed what he called a magical moment early on, as son Charlie put the League Two leaders ahead with his first goal for the club. That strike meant the Gills have only failed to find the net in 1 of their 12 league matches this term. And they were in rampant mood, storming into a 3-0 lead by the interval. Their next goal came when Sonny Bradley handled to allow Danny Kedwell the chance to smash home his 10th of the season. Kedwell then turned provider to allow Miles Weston to get in on the act. And at this stage, it was already a case of damage limitation for the Shots, who left the Priestfield with an unwanted new club record of 5 consecutive league losses. They only shipped 1 more after the break, Chris Weltdale making it 4 to round off a fun family day out for the Allens.
With Port Vale hot on their heels, the visit of Burton was billed as a big test for Gillingham. But once Tom Flanagan had the home side ahead, the Gills always held the whip hand. It was a day for goal-scoring defenders. 4 were on target at Priestfield. Things were going swimmingly for Matt Fish as he doubled the Gills' lead 5 minutes before the break. With Port Vale to play on Tuesday, Burton could have a big influence on the top of the table this week. But it was only briefly that the Brewers threatened to come back here. Xander Diamond pulled one back early in the second half. But the league leaders immediately reasserted their superiority. Rob Kiernan was left to regret the amount of space he gave Miles Weston, for whom the finish was mere child's play. Joe Martin wrapped up Gillingham's 7th win out of 9 4 minutes later. This strike made it 4 goals in successive games for the league leaders. Not that Martin Allen is counting.
They are a really good team. And what was it, 4-1, wasn't it? 4, yeah. So, yeah, that was a good result, a good performance, and I don't know if it's the best of the season, but 3 points.
Gillingham's seemingly remorseless progress towards promotion stalled at Torquay, even though Dion Burton put the Gills ahead early in the second half. Keeper Stuart Nelson will be a little annoyed with himself for letting Nathan Craig's free kick drift in, but there was little he could do to prevent Torquay's late winner, courtesy of Kevin Nicholson's long-range shot, which condemned the Gills to their first away defeat of the season. Neil Bell, BBC South East Today.
Roman Vansalo arrived at Gillingham on Friday. The Brighton midfielder made a good start to his loan spell, firing the only goal at a windswept Wimbledon. In blustery conditions, the Dons threw everything at the visitors. Goalkeeper Stuart Nelson helped the Gills weather the storm.
Played very well first half. There was a very, very strong wind here today. There's a bit of a slope on this pitch, and you've got to say AFC put in a great effort in the second half. It was a little bit backs to the wall for us. They put a lot of pressure on us, but we restricted them to long distance. But I would say their manager would still be happy with the way they've played.
As for the top of NPAL League 2, Gillingham picked up their 11th maximum of the season as they extend their lead after Port Vale lost at Northampton, while Cheltenham's win sees them move into 3rd as they swap places with Fleetwood. Barnet's win means they extend their unbeaten run to 3, but are still bottom of League 2. Aldershot, a place above them, picked up a point. In fact, the Bees were the only team in the bottom 9 to manage all 3 points.
Gillingham sent scout Russ Wilcox to check up on Scunthorpe before this tie, and he took a job as Brian Law's new assistant instead. That left an unhappy Gills boss Martin Allen with little info on the League One strugglers. But ignorance turned out to be bliss. Once Matt Fish had put the League Two leaders in front, Scunthorpe's bid to give Laws a winning start to his 3rd spell in charge collapsed. Dion Burton, just turned 36, confirmed that any inside knowledge Laws may have received from his new sidekick wasn't helping. Josh Walker's foul on Danny Jackman won't have been in the scouting report either. Danny Kedwell's 11th of the season must have improved Mad Dog's temper. Which probably wasn't the case for Laws once Sam Slocum fumbled and Adam Birchall bundled his first goal for Gillingham. A chastening day for the Iron and Mr Wilcox.
Cheltenham were happy with their night's work, a goalless draw at League Two leaders Gillingham, keeping the Robins in third place. Alistair Durden, BBC Points West.
Gillingham remain 5 points clear at the top of League Two, despite being held to a goalless draw by third place Cheltenham.
The lads are really disappointed in the dressing room. I'm not. I think it's a good point. They don't gain on us. Someone's just told me that all the other teams near the top have drawn as well. So I suppose that's good news as well.
After 4 defeats in a row, how Plymouth needed this against Martin Allen's pace setters. A goal just past the half hour for Curtis Nelson. Though Argyle's fans weren't likely to get carried away, they hadn't seen their side keep a clean sheet at Home Park in the league all season. Sure enough, before half-time, Ben Strevens had the match all square, latching onto Chris Whelpdale's miscue. Plymouth had been in front for just 5 minutes, and now it seemed they'd be back to the old routine, living on their nerves. But by the time the game moved into the closing stages, Argyle were growing bolder, and Luke Young left Gillingham in deep trouble. The leaders had just 11 minutes left to salvage something. Allen reckons his players never know when they're beaten, and the Kent club's captain Adam Barrett rose to the challenge. His flick-on was half cleared, but even with all but one of the Plymouth team camped in their own box, there was no stopping the skipper. Barrett's commitment clinching a second successive draw for the Gills.
Another very good day for Gillingham. Lewis Montrose put them ahead against a Morecambe side who ran the Gills unexpectedly close. Despite the breathing space Martin Allen's side enjoy at the top of League Two, they were actually 2 games without a win before this one. So when the Shrimps notched a 69th minute equaliser through Jack Redshaw, it provided the leaders with a real test of character. Dion Burton's injury time strike ensured that they passed it. A spectacular winner that could prove a pivotal moment in the Gills season.
Oh, what a goal, what a finish. Great ball forward, took it on his chest. I've seen him do that for years. I said last week they're relentless and they just keep going. And we started the game extremely well. Morecambe have been on good form and good results. They're well organised, they've got some good players, good men, proper men of experience. It was a tough game.
Whelpdale gave the Gills an early lead before the visitors then scored twice to go ahead. Danny Jackman made it 2-2 with a spectacular strike. Here it goes. Look at that. And although Gills keeper Stuart Nelson pulled off a penalty save from Jamie Cureton, he couldn't stop the veteran striker, winning it late on.
Exeter City seem to be more comfortable away from St James Park this season. Paul Tisdale's men followed their win at Bradford last weekend with another, this time at table-topping Gillingham. And it was spectacular. Alan Gow's exquisite free kick wiped out the Gills' early advantage. We know what top scorer Jamie Cureton's favourite pop tune is. He practised his Gangnam-style dance not once, but twice. In between, he fluffed his lines from the penalty spot with a poorly taken spot kick. But Cureton doesn't lick a gift horse in the mouth for too long as he executed Liam Sercombe's cross to complete a famous City win.
Martin Allen dismissed Gillingham's midweek defeat as a mere blip. When Miles Weston put the Gills ahead at Accrington, it did seem that normal service had been resumed. But things changed when Padraig Armand showed his worth as an impact substitute. Seconds after stepping off the bench, he attempted a rash challenge from Stuart Nelson. With Armand clean through, the keeper had to go. That meant an unforeseen appearance for Tommy Forecast, who faced former England international James Beattie. He slotted in the penalty to leave Gillingham with only 1 win in 5. So a blip or something more serious? It certainly could have been worse for the Gills. Romy Boko struck the post with time running out.
Lead at the top of Empower League 2 has been reduced to 2 points as they drew at Accrington and Port Vale won. Cheltenham stay third, while Southend's hat-trick of wins moves them up 4 places to a season high of 4th, with only 4 points separating them and 13th. Barnet stayed bottom after a late defeat at Cheltenham. Aldershot dropped back to 23rd. In fact, all of the bottom three in League Two lost. Wickham in 19th, however, continue their revival as they win back-to-back.
Gillingham are currently top of League Two, but no upset for them at Preston, where the home side settled the outcome in the first half. Jeffrey Monacana opened the scoring with the help of a deflection. And the League One side scored again when Callum Davis's attempts to touch the ball back to goalkeeper Tommy Forecast were hijacked by Lee Holmes. And the rebound was turned in by Stuart Bevan. If Gills manager Martin Allen was frustrated by his side's defending, he was also left to rue a missed penalty early in the second half. John Welsh penalised for handball. But Dion Burton's spot kick hit the post, and Preston manager Graham Westley's reputation as an FA Cup specialist continues.
If there were any nerves ahead of Gillingham's trip to Rotherham, Dion Burton settled them after only 11 minutes. His goal silenced the New York Stadium, who had been booing the veterans every touch. Burton spent 5.5 months at Rotherham before leaving in controversial circumstances. You sense that the striker will particularly enjoy his 8th and 9th goals of the season. But Burton wasn't able to lay claim to the goal of the game. That honour went to Jason Taylor, who put the Millers back in the match with just over 20 minutes remaining. Shortly afterwards, however, Taylor's challenge on Roman Vansilo left the Gillingham man unconscious and with a suspected broken neck. The severity of the situation soon became clear to all, and for once supporter loyalties were forgotten. Thankfully, Vansilo was later discharged from hospital and travelled home with his teammates.
I thought the gesture from all the Rotherham supporters to clap him off the pitch, I was chuffed to bits with that for all those supporters from Rotherham that done that, so big thank you to them.
A near-capacity crowd saw Gillingham's last home game before Christmas, but seasonal cheer was in short supply when Fleetwood stunned their hosts with 2 goals in 8 first-half minutes. Junior Brown scored the first goal of Graham Alexander's reign as manager before Alan Goodall made it 2 with his first league goal in over 4 years. Charlie Lee pulled one back for Gillingham, who raised their game after a painfully slow start. Substitute Miles Weston rescued a point for the leaders. Reward for a stirring second-half performance that Martin Allen described as one of Gillingham's best of the season.
The whole team went up another gear in the second half for sure, and really did show the home crowd what we can do, which was fantastic for so many people to be here at this time of year. It was a fantastic atmosphere from the technical area, just to see it so busy. It was great for the club, great atmosphere, great comeback. Disappointed we didn't go on and win it, I suppose.
A month ago, League Two leaders Gillingham against Barnet would have been a home banker, but Jake Hyde's excellent shot was enough to spring a surprise on what turned into a dismal afternoon for the home side. Neil Bell, BBC South East Today.
And how the title race is panning out.
I'm going to make it simple. I think the top 3 all deserve a mention. Port Vale under Mickey Adams, tremendous being administration. Martin Allen's gone there as a new manager and done really well, although they found it a little bit sticky recently in Cheltenham. Mark Yates never ceased to amaze me at Wadden Road, small ground, great home form. They've had 8 wins there already. But Bradford also deserve a mention in 6th place. You know, their 35th game it was for them today. Great result in the cup, and you know they were a team who were looking at maybe dropping out of the league fairly recently.
Good to see Burton in the top 7 there as well. As for the bottom?
Well, it's good to see Dagenham and Redbridge up in 15. John's still weaving his magic against selling another player, as he likes to do it at Dagenham and Redbridge. But, you know, I think the obvious underachievers there are Bristol Rovers. You know, obviously Mark McGee's left now. They conceded 46 goals, and John Ward's now gone in there. Although he's unbeaten in 3, but 2 of those games have been postponed, so he's got a lot of work to do.
Gillingham's miserable Christmas can now be forgotten thanks to Chris Whelpdale's early goal at Southend, which was good enough for victory and a return to the top of League Two. Neil Bell, BBC South East Today.
Gillingham remain 2 points clear at the top after victory at Bristol Rovers. Chris Whelpdale put Gillingham ahead in the 3rd minute, scoring for the 2nd consecutive week. The second was Route 1. Whelpdale with the flick on for Dion Burton to score his 9th league goal of the season, 8 which have come away from home.
Top of the table clashes can be cautious affairs, but Priestfield witnessed a spectacular start to this one. Only 4 minutes had elapsed when Vale's Tom Pope claimed his 26th goal of the season and 5th in as many games. Another proven goal scorer made it too. Lee Hughes joined the Valiants on Tuesday. The veteran wasted no time in showing that he still knows where the goal is. Gillingham had occupied top spot in League Two since the 1st of September. Vale fans had barely begun to celebrate a changing of the guard when the Gills pulled one back. Directly from kick-off, Danny Kedwell fired the game's 3rd goal inside the opening 21 minutes. The second half saw a Gillingham onslaught, but Vale survived. Chris Neal's point-blank save from Adam Birchall ensured that despite the Gills' best efforts, Vale topped the table this evening.
I was disappointed not to get anything out of it. It was a terrific performance second half. Created numerous chances, couldn't get the equaliser. But then I suppose you'd have to say it's, you know, you don't want to be 2-0 down in the first place.
Gillingham missed the chance to return to the top of League Two today. They were held to a 1-1 draw at home to York. Gillingham's Charlie Lee tried to clear a corner, instead scored an own goal. But on loan, Cody MacDonald, in his 2nd spell at the club, rescued a point for Gillingham.
But on to football now. Gillingham have moved back to the top of League Two after a convincing win at the Priestfield Stadium last night. The Gills took a 4th-minute lead against Northampton after Cody MacDonald tapped the ball home, his 2nd goal in 2 games after returning to the club on loan. Miles Weston scored off the post after 84 minutes, sealing victory and the top spot for Gillingham.
Yes, your Monday Night Football comes from Priestfield Live in N-Power League 2. It's Gillingham against Wickham, and if you are a Sky Sports subscriber, you can watch wherever you are this Monday evening via Sky Go. It has been a terrific tussle between Gillingham and Paul Vale, the top spot in recent weeks. Vale's 3-0 win over Accrington on Saturday saw them take over once again, but a win for Gillingham tonight will put them back on the top of the pile, but more significantly, it will take them 11 points clear of 4th place Burton.
Some save from Jordan Archer.
Looked likely so far tonight.
Leon Legg just nipped ahead of Kafour there, and that was important, although Morgan now can give it to Sam Wood to strike! Terrific try! Super save too!
Well, you're right, the try, the effort, the attempt, the strike is absolutely top draw. I think the save does it. I think the save actually beats the strike. And it's very rare that you'll say that without the ball finding the back of the net. Nelson in the goal. That is a wonderful save. Top draw.
In fact, he's going to send it to the other centre-half, Leon Legg, who nearly got to it. Burton and Weston! Frantic defending, but it's not away yet. Back by Robinson. Scowen finally clears it. Scowen. They offer Morgan, and the flag stays down here. It's Matt McClaw. Oh, what a horrible miss from Wickham's top scorer. He could have snatched the points.
saying, all the games I've been covering, I don't think I've seen a team create so many clear chances and not score.
Gregory caught out here by Scowen. McClure looking to make amends. He does! He came back for more straight away. That is the way to do it. And they do nearly always score. Joe Martin's corner. It's off the line. Barrett may well have made contact. Kedwell. Wickham a little slow out there. Whelpdale heads it wide. Gordon Archer's got a yellow card for taking his time. Oh dear, oh dear.
Well, I hope the goalkeeper just walks away. Idiots. Not worth it, really not worth it.
A shameful moment. Once again, not for the first time this season. The Gillingham fans, to be fair, are booing that idiot, and rightly so.
Martin, what did you make of that?
I thought we played well first half, and in the second half I thought we were very disappointing. We played really, really well as a team throughout the season, and with the Sky cameras coming to Priestfield tonight and another good crowd, I thought we made some good chances first half, very unlucky on several occasions. But in the second half I thought Wickham deserved to win, to be honest.
Good evening. A 17-year-old man from Rochester has been charged with assault after a spectator ran onto the pitch during Gillingham's game last night at the Priestfield and jumped on the Wycombe Wanderers goalkeeper. It happened in the final moments of the game. The Gillingham manager, Martin Allen, has condemned what happened. Peter Whittlesey reports.
The Wycombe Wanderers goalkeeper floored in the 93rd minute of the game. The spectator who jumped on Jordan Archer is wrestled to the ground as Gillingham are 1-0 down.
It was shock, horror. What the hell's going on? And you really want to turn the clock back, because back in your in your mind you know what the ramifications of something like this could be for Gillingham Football Club.
And condemned by the supporters.
And condemned by the supporters. I mean, throughout the stadium, I think they would look at it and say, what is he doing? And at the end of the day, the majority, or 99.9% of the fans there would have said, it wish it hadn't happened, and they will decry anybody else that would do it in the future.
The match report on Gillingham's website says if the defeat wasn't bad enough, the stupidity of one fan in the closing stages made things even worse on the national stage after an altercation with Archer.
I mean, as a football club, I don't think we can condone that. I'm sure all our supporters, none of us are happy with that, are we? For one person doing something like that is absolutely crazy.
Phil Parkinson taking the applause as he arrived at Valley Parade. This was Bradford's last home match before their trip to Wembley, and they had the best of the early chances. Gary Jones close to opening the scoring with that sizzling 25-yarder, as was Naki Wells with the follow-up. But Stuart Nelson proving equal to the Bantam menace. Gillingham hadn't had a single shot on goal in the first half, but in the second they opened the scoring when Dion Burton's lifted pass found Cody McDonald, who made it pay. The Gills on their way to a 10th away victory. Bradford battled to find an equaliser, and 15 minutes from time they nearly had it when the lively Kyle Reid served up an inviting cross for James Hansen. But the League Cup hero somehow put it wide, and it was the visitors who reigned at the parade.
Gillingham missed the chance to go top after they were held to a goalless draw away to York. The Gills lost Charlie Allen to a suspected broken hand for the second time this season.
John Still felt that two dubious decisions did for Dagenham here. Leon Legg was flagged offside as he scored Gillingham's opener, but referee Ian Williamson overruled his assistants. Daggers' sense of injustice inspired an impressive start to the second half. They soon levelled the match, Femi Ilisanmi smashing in his first senior goal. Gillingham's recent home record isn't the best. Nerves were starting to fray when Charlie Lee headed wide from Matt Fisher's cross. But 2 minutes later came the second decision that incensed Daggers. Did Chris Lewington get the ball here? The referee said no and awarded a penalty for the challenge on Anton Robinson. Having only just stepped off the bench, Dion Burton slotted in the most composed of penalties. That winning goal takes the Gills back to the top of the table. Dagenham's arguments about decisions might have been more muted had the Gills' margin of victory been more convincing. The leaders did come close to adding a third. This time Lewington got nowhere near ball or player. Miles Weston picked out Burton, but the post prevented a more one-sided scoreline.
Gillingham were after a club record 11th league away win of the season at Chesterfield. But aside from Tommy Lee's smart save to deny Chris Whelpdale early on, the league leaders didn't really get going until after the break. Cody MacDonald rising highest to nod home a 4th goal in 7 appearances. Jack Lester had Chesterfield's best chance, but Gillingham had Leon Legg to thank for preserving their 5th consecutive clean sheet away from home on a record-breaking day for Martin Allen's side.
We only conceded 9 goals away from home, so which is another record, I think. 11 wins. The club's 100 years old, I think now, a centenary year, so it must be. So to create history for the football club is a fine achievement by everybody, staff, players and supporters that come up and give us great backing.
It was a night of contrasts for Gillingham. They're still top of League Two, 2 points clear of Port Vale, but they were booed off the pitch after losing their 6th home game this season. Last night's opponents, Oxford, went home 1-0 winners after scoring the only goal of the game in the 83rd minute.
To lose any game, we're not happy with. But I think if you look over the course of the season so far, there's going to be games that we don't take points out of, and we certainly don't get maximum points.
Andy Scott's decent start at Aldershot came up against Martin Allen's league leaders. Gillingham's position at the top owes much to a miserly defence which had been breached only 9 times away from Priestfield. That became 10 2 minutes into the second half when Craig Reed's sharp turn and finish put the shots in front. The Gills have been booed off after a home defeat in midweek. If the manager was looking for a response, he got it. From Chris Whelpdale's cross, Leon Legg headed the equaliser. And the Kent club almost won it. Danny Kedwell's header drew a superb save from Jamie Young. Aldershot survived to extend their unbeaten run to 5, and the Gills boss was content with the draw.
Well, every point we get, whether we're home or away or whatever happens with all the other scores, is always a good point in my brain. The players just keep going and going.
They bombard you, they launch missiles, are throws in, they slow the game down, they throw it in from 35 yards. It's not really great to watch, but you know, they're top of the league, so you know, they're doing something right. But we stood up to it very, very well.
For half an hour, Plymouth kept the leaders at bay until Antonio German made his first start for Gillingham one to remember. The striker on loan from Brentford eased the nerves of the home fans, who'd seen their side stumble last month, losing 2 of their 3 games at Priestfield. After the break, German timed his run perfectly to latch onto Chris Whelpdale's pass and had the chance to make the game safe. Argyle got lucky before Whelpdale arrived to clean up. Martin Allen's men were on course for a return to winning ways, though it wasn't all plain sailing. Jason Banton's made a good impression since Plymouth borrowed him from Crystal Palace, but his 4th goal for the Devon club wasn't enough to spare the strugglers from their first defeat in 3, as Gillingham stayed in command at the top.
Exeter City remain in the League Two playoff places after a good 0-0 draw at home to leaders Gillingham. Jamie Curriton missed a host of chances for the home side, who dominated the Gills for long periods.
In League Two, Gillingham made it 11 away games without defeats, but rarely looked likely winners. Even so, they remain 5 points clear. Neil Bell, BBC South East Today.
Gillingham have enjoyed their travels this season. Just 1 defeat so far suggests the leaders are rarely this wasteful. A forgettable moment for Michael Richardson making his first start on loan from Newcastle. And the miscue looked all the more costly as Morecambe took the lead just before the break. Jack Redshaw demonstrating the instinct that's earned him 5 goals in the last 6 games. New territory for the Gills, who'd not been behind at half-time in any of their previous away league trips. 7 minutes after the restart, they rectified the problem. A weak clearance punished by Bradley Dack. There were several chances to clinch all 3 points, probably the best supplied for Dak. But Gillingham had to settle for the draw and could console themselves with the bigger picture.
We've been top of the league now for 7 months, and we still yet haven't had too many compliments. So, hi Manish, hopefully you can say some good stuff about our players tonight. OK? Great.
Stow, OK, from the Championship promotion race to the top of League Two, and pleasant viewing for Martin. It's Gillingham leading the way, 4 points clear with a game in hand after that 1-1 draw at Morecambe yesterday. Martin, talk us through it.
Well, Jackie, it was an eventful first 45 minutes. You see Morecambe there going 1-0 up just before half-time. It was the first effort they'd had on our goal. In the second half, we played much higher up the pitch, and young Bradley Dack, side-footed finishing. He's only 18, this boy. I think he's 18 or 19. And then we had a close shave at the end where he's nearly won it for us. So a point away against a club that's not lost for 5.5 months is good going.
What's been the key to your success this season, would you say?
Good players, without a shadow of a doubt. The players that we inherited from Andy Hessenthaler's team, and we've added some new players ourselves, and some good players that have come through the youth system at Gillingham, and bonded them all together, and it definitely is the players have been the key to it, for sure.
It's an unusual situation there, isn't it? Because Andy Hessenthaler led them to 8th place finishes in each of the last 2 seasons. He got the sack, but then accepted the role as director of football, and then you've come in and worked with him. How does that dynamic work?
Andy keeps an eye on all our scouting, all our recruitment, all our players coming in and out, helps our young players from our development squad go out on loan, keeps an eye on our youth team, our under-16s. Stays in the background, but he's been very helpful. A few times I've gone to him for advice and guidance and his opinion, of course. And he's been a successful manager in his own right. So, you know, it's great to have someone like Andy around.
Is it nice to have your chairman around, at least on the end of the phone? Paul Scally's a bit of a character, isn't he? What's he like to work with?
He's a great character, but he lives in Dubai, works from Dubai, but you've only got to press an extension number and you go straight through to his office. They're 4 hours ahead, so I normally call him first thing every morning, 7:30, so it's 11:30 over there, and we have a good chat. So he knows exactly what's going on, keeps his finger on the pulse, and he's been very supportive and also, of course, very, very helpful.
So, Martin, you've been along for so long, you've been at the top so long. Would you settle for promotion now, or is it the title?
Well, Brighty, Tuesday night we go away to Rochdale, so we leave Gillingham at 8 o'clock, and I think it really is a special game.
Mm-hmm.
This game in hand has been there now for quite a while, and if we win on Tuesday night, we go 7 points clear. And I think if that's achieved, then I classed it as coming into the marathon, and we were approaching the stadium for that last part of the track, and that's where we are right now.
Oh, good luck with that. Let's hope you do a Mo Farah at the end there.
Now in football, Gillingham extended their lead at the top of League Two to 5 points after coming from behind to draw at Rochdale last night. George Donnelly put the home side ahead when he pounced on a mistake from Gillingham defender Leon Legg, but shortly after the break, Gill's top scorer Danny Kedwell powered home to level the game. But they had to hold on for the last 5 minutes with only 10 men after Andy Frampton was sent off for an off-the-ball incident with Bobby Grant.
After a trio of trips away, the return to Priestfield offered Gillingham a chance to get back in the winning habit. Tom Aldred's timely arrival spared Accrington and denied Dion Burton the opener, but the leaders continued to set the pace in the first half. Joe Martin surging down the left to supply Danny Kedwell. Once again, Aldred was on hand to increase the Gills' frustration. Accrington gave a good account of themselves, but there was nothing they could do about the touch of class which clinched the match. While Chris Whelpdale was blocked out, there'd be no stopping Matt Fish. A fabulous winner that gives Gillingham a commanding advantage at the top. It's hard enough against the leaders without handing out gifts, so Nathan Pond's under-hit pass got the afternoon off to a terrible start for Fleetwood. Adam Birchall's backheel teeing up Danny Kedwell, whose 14th of the season was superbly taken. Fleetwood bounced back just past the half hour when Junior Brown popped up an inviting cross for Gareth Evans, who had no time to curse his bad luck before he was off celebrating with scorer Jamil Matt. Away draws had become a habit for the Gills, 4 in a row before this trip, and they wanted better. After Joe Martin picked out Charlie Allen, they could head in for half-time with a spring in their step. But another matte finish was going to take the gloss off the Kent club's day. When Brown was buffeted in the box, that man Jamil got a toe on the loose ball to make the penalty appeals academic. A useful point in the offing for Graham Alexander's men, though they needed Scott Davis's terrific save from Kebwell to see them safely home.
Gillingham stayed top of Empower League 2, but their lead is cut to 6 points as they could only draw on Saturday. Port Vale are second, while Northampton have moved into the top 3 for just the second time this season, while the 4 teams in the playoffs are just separated by 3.
It's time for Gillingham to get the bubbly in. The Gills took another step closer to a promotion party when Dion Burton scored against his old club. Steve Evans reckoned Rotherham had the big game players necessary to frustrate the league leaders, but only the woodwork prevented Chris Whelpdale from doubling their lead. It was a similar story in the second half when Danny Kedwell had this shot pushed onto the frame of the goal by the Millers' Scott Shearer. Martin Allen's side are now 11 points clear of the playoffs with 4 to play. One more win will seal promotion. Stuart Nelson's save from Michael O'Connor means corks could pop next weekend.
Other results have gone our way today, so I think everybody knew that today was April Fool's Day and there's no way that we were going to be the fools.
All talk at the Cricketers in Gillingham is about the biggest sports story in town and for miles around. A win tomorrow against Torquay at Priestfield and the Gills will go up, but only if results in 3 other games go the right way.
Hopefully after tonight, Port Vale get a win or a draw, then tomorrow will be a great day for the football club.
You're going to be celebrating when they do it, when, not if?
Oh yeah, when they do it, definitely. Always be there 100%, you know, always at the home games. So, just excited.
It's already sparking memories of the last Gills triumph in 2009 and the Wembley playoff final, which also saw them leap into League One. Sadly, they were relegated shortly afterwards, but celebrations are likely to be just as enthusiastic if they repeat the feat.
It'll be a really good day, and obviously if the result goes well, then I imagine it'll be party time after the game. So yeah, it'll be good.
It does give everyone a lift, the traders and people in the town as well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, trade-wise for everyone, it must be brilliant, really.
The players who've got the club this far are keeping calm.
No one down there is getting carried away. We know we've still got a job to do until we get that magic little P next to our name on the league table, and hopefully we can get it done sooner rather than later.
The real dream is to enter the record books alongside the legendary team of 1964, which won what was then Division 4. Gills could be champions by season's end. Alan, you're former Gills Player of the Year. What do you make of all this?
Obviously delighted. Still live in the area, and my local pub is the pub nearest to the ground, really, so great for the club.
It is good times for the Gills.
It's a good time for Gills. I mean, everybody's bubbling at the moment. The whole town is bubbling, the stadium's rocking, and the fans are really loving what they see.
So the Gills will have to rely on other results, maybe on better weather, if the champagne corks are going to be popping this weekend. But there's a growing sense now that promotion is inevitable, that the club is going places and the town is going with them. Derek Johnson, ITV News, Gillingham.
Gillingham have rarely been off top spot this season. With Martin Allen orchestrating things, their campaign was about to reach a crescendo. Adam Birchall struck the crossbar as the Gills dominated early on. Relegation threatened Torquay are in need of the points themselves. Rene Howe came close to pooping the Gillingham party. At the other end, the pressure continued. The goals Martin Rice was kept busy, not least from this Stephen Gregory pile driver. Top scorer Danny Kedwell has done as much as anyone to propel the Gills into League One. A boyhood Gillingham fan, it was fitting that his goal was the one that sealed only the 6th promotion in the club's history. There were still a few scares for the home side, but Kevin Nicholson's free kick showed that it wasn't to be Torquay's day. An injury time PA announcement confirmed that other results were very much in the Gills' favour. Thus, at the final whistle, Priestfield could celebrate a job well done.
It's an amazing feeling with just a few minutes to go. Obviously the announcement that came over the whole ground was a sort of a spooky, eerie couple of minutes where the crowd and all of us went pretty quiet. Couldn't wait for that game to end. So it's been a team effort, and on and off the field, the players, and you've got to mention the players that have also played for us through the season, on loan, and some of the players that have left here as well. A lot of people played their part.
We have to say, of course, tonight, very well done to all concerned at Gillingham. First team in the Football League this season to celebrate promotion. They've been there, top of the table, Leroy, bar, what, 2 or 3 weeks, richly deserved.
Yeah, they've been terrific all season, and Martin Allen, really pleased for him. As you said, his first promotion. He's been seen as a bit of a firefighter, but he's had a chance to get his teeth into this project. The players have been an absolute credit to him. His signings have been spot on. And, you know, the chairman, Paul Scally, you know, made the decision to ask Andy Hessenthal to step aside at the start of the season, which was the right decision, and Adam Barrett has been an inspirational signing.
Well, there's been plenty of celebrations in Gillingham after the Kent club became the first in the country to win promotion yesterday, following a 1-0 home win over Torquay. Neil Bell reports.
It's great when a plan comes together. With their rivals struggling, Gillingham's victory was enough to seal promotion in front of their own jubilant supporters. A moment to be savoured by Chairman Paul Scally and manager Martin Allen, and of course the club's fans.
Brilliant match, brilliant, fantastic. I'm glad we've gone up anyway, so that's all I can say.
Yeah! Best day since we went to Wembley. Yeah. Come on, you Gills, let's get to the championship.
I've seen nothing like it for years, have we? You know, it really is. I just can't find words for it. I'm over the moon, yeah.
The winning goal came almost inevitably from local boy Danny Kedwell, a lifelong Gills supporter, and gives the club a great chance of winning the League Two title.
That's something I've not experienced, so it's been to Wembley a couple of times What a waste of champagne. I don't realise this is £50 a bottle.
So a triumphant day for the Gills. Now that they're promoted, they'll want to go up as champions for the first time in almost 50 years. Neil Bell, BBC South East today at the Priestfield Stadium.
A Gillingham win would have seen the League Two title on its way to Kent, but Michael Hector's goal means the champagne will have to stay on ice. Cheltenham are chasing promotion themselves and had a point to prove after defeat to Plymouth last week. Russell Penn almost added a second in a much improved performance.
I think we showed today that we had that aggression, we had that competitive edge, but we passed it as well. It was a decent game of football. I really enjoyed it, and to a man, they were 1,000,000% better than they were last week.
I thought the lads had a real go. It's a difficult place to come and play, especially after getting promotion last week. Their record here is very, very good against all the best teams. I thought they played really well, to be honest.
So just a point needed for Gillingham to sew up the League Two title, but Barnett's dramatic win meant only 3 points would keep Wimbledon out of the relegation places. It was all going to plan for the Gills when Dion Burton blasted in his 13th of the season, and in a carnival atmosphere at Priestfield, the league leaders looked to be romping to an easy win, especially when former Dons favourite Danny Kedwell headed in his 16th of the campaign. Miles Weston came on at the break, and just as he's done so often this season, immediately took players on, only for the crossbar to stand in the way of a superb solo goal. Wimbledon deserve huge credit for dragging themselves back into the game. They were offered hope when Jack Midson scored his 13th of the season after Charlie Strutton had volleyed in John Meads' deep cross. It was the impressive Meads who'd grabbed what could prove to be a priceless point 8 minutes from time. A slack moment from the Gills defence let in Midson down the left-hand side, and Meads slotted in from 8 yards. Neil Ardley brought on Gary Alexander as the Dons made one final throw of the dice, and he was a matter of inches away from crashing the party late on. But Gillingham held on to claim only the second championship in their history and first since 1964.
Best highlight of my career, there's no doubt. I mean, let's be honest, I'm the worst Allen in the Allen family. All the others are multi-talented, and For me, you know, to be called nicknamed Mad Dog just because I tackled people and make a living at football. And now to turn this round and get a promotion after being known as a manager that just keeps clubs up, lastminute.com. To be champions after a year is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Many congratulations to Gillingham. We knew, of course, that they were already promoted, but they have sealed the title, and it's Martin Allen's first, well, since he was labelled Mad Dog.
That certainly isn't one that's really well deserved, and you know, the fans would enjoy that. Obviously, they sealed promotion last week, and now they've got their hands on the title, and Paul Scally and Martin Allen will know that's the end of the celebrations for them. They'll be starting and looking forward to next season and having an impact in League One, which I think they will have. They've got some good players.
Yeah.
Football now, and the celebrations are continuing after Gillingham were crowned champions. They sealed the League Two title. Neil Bell, watch the action.
League Two champion! Relief, exhaustion, exhilaration, but the overriding emotion was sheer joy. There were some nervy moments, but Gillingham's players and supporters have waited a long, long time for this. And Martin Allen emulates Peter Taylor and Tony Pulis in guiding Gillingham to promotion in his first season. But they didn't do it as champions.
To win it at home, in front of a packed house, you know, I don't get much better than that. And absolutely chuffed, very, very proud. And, you know, a great achievement from everyone this year.
The afternoon began well. Dion Burton's thumping drive put the Gills ahead, and shortly after it appeared the job was done when local hero Danny Kedwell headed a second. Wimbledon levelled things up after the break to ensure a tense finish, but that only made the celebrations more heartfelt.
It's unbelievable to get back in the first division again and play some good football. You know, it's been fantastic.
We did it over the course of the season, #1. We don't get to say that very often. Well done, Gills. Proud of you.
This is just unbelievable. In front of our own fans, this has got to beat Wembley, I've got to tell you. This is a lovely day, magnificent day, great performance, great result, and we're champions!
After almost a decade of decline, things are finally looking up for Kent's only league club. Neil Bell, BBC South East Today, Gillingham.
Absolutely chuffed, very, very proud, and you know, a great achievement from everyone this year.
Best highlight of my career, there's no doubt.
#1. We don't get to say that very often. Well done, Gills. Proud of you.
It's unbelievable to get back in the first division again and play some good football. You know, it's been fantastic.
Sunshine for it as well.
It was a great day, wasn't it? So, Gillingham Football Club chairman Paul Scally is here with us with the trophy, and you haven't stopped smiling since.
It's been a very happy weekend, I have to say. It's, the trophy's not left my side. It stayed with me on Saturday night when I went to bed, and I took it to lunch on Sunday with Martin Allen and put it on the table in the restaurant, and somebody came and filled it with a bottle of champagne, and it's been a big smile ever since, but
fantastic.
Absolutely magnificent.
And you must have been getting big smiles off everyone you've seen since then. What's the reaction been like?
Yeah, I mean, just everyone. So the whole of Kent, people have been all around Kent. I've been going all around, and they've been just wishing us well and congratulating us. And you know, it's really amazing how it's given such a big lift to everyone in the Medway towns and in Kent. So it's a great occasion for the club and for the supporters.
Have you been surprised at that reaction? Because I think Saturday night you ended up gate crashing a function, didn't you?
Well, I'd had a couple of drinks, as you can imagine, from the bottle, and I just wandered through our banqueting hall, just trying to find my way back to my office, and there was an event on which I didn't realise, and I walked in and the band stopped, and I was sort of standing there with the cup and thinking, oh, I shouldn't be here. And I just didn't know what to do, so I just held it up and I said, "We are the champions," and the whole place erupted. And And I was there nearly an hour with people taking pictures of it and photographs, and it was just wonderful. And that kind of sums up how it's been for everyone, really. I think everyone just feels good about it, really.
And great for the team, obviously, who've done brilliantly this season, an amazing record. And plans to go off to Benidorm, is that right, to celebrate?
That's classified.
Is it? Oh, okay.
It is classified, but yes, we are. We're going to take them away after the Burton game. We can just have a couple of days of rest, really, out there, and just bonding. I think that's what's needed.
Yeah.
But everyone's been, the fans have been magnificent this season, and I'm just so proud of everyone who's been involved, really.
Now, of course, the Gills fans, they'll be absolutely loving this and lapping it up, and they'll be starting to look at next season already, won't they? Are you?
I am. I'm really excited about next season already, and you know, we have a good management team in place. Martin's done a brilliant job with his backroom staff. I think the team have been fitter this year than in past years, possibly, with all the new staff we brought in. You know, and we've got out of that difficult division. League Two is a very, very hard division. Difficult to play good football and get out, but we've managed to get out, third time trying. And I think everything about the club is good now. We've got good foundations. I think all the omens are good, and if we can keep everyone together, anything can happen this next season.
Is it right that you were offered an open-top bus parade to celebrate, but you're not so sure about that?
Well, I mean, Medway Council have been brilliant, and they put up this offer of a bus, but it's not that we don't want to do it, it's just that it doesn't kind of fit into the programme for the next week, and it's a question of when we could have done it. We've got our Player of the Year and, of course, our centenary dinner, because it is our centenary. I mean, what a great way to write a book that would be, with a centenary, a promotion, a championship. And it just wasn't a spot that would have worked. So whilst we're very grateful to the council for the great offer, it just isn't going to happen because it doesn't work with the schedule. But we'll save the bus for next year when we get in a championship.
Well, there we go. Crawley managed back-to-back promotions, didn't they? So
well, it's been done by quite a number of clubs, and everything feels good.
Let's make it a date.
I'll told the council, keep the wheels on the bus turning.
And you've got the amazing pictures of celebration from this weekend, haven't you? So
it's such a lot to live on, you know, and the commentaries we've had, and it's just been a great experience, and you just kind of want it to keep going, you know. It's like your wedding day, isn't it? You never want it to end.
I'll bet. Thank you very much, Paul. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Champions Gillingham were afforded a respectful welcome by a Burton Albion side looking forward to their first ever appearance in the Football League playoffs. The pleasantries didn't last long. After 9 minutes, Bradley Dack was brought down by Aaron Webster, and Miles Weston calmly gave the Kent club the lead. And after that, it was action all the way. As the storm clouds passed, the sun shone on Burton, especially Billy Key, gobbling up the second chance after Jimmy Phillips rattled the post. Phillips deserved more as he made it a testing day for Marlon Romeo, one of 6 Gills players who made their league debuts. The midfielder's second assist helping Michael Symes get on the score sheet. An impressive turnaround by Albion, who were heading for 4th place, the highest finish in their history. Phillips' trickery catching the eye again before Calvin Zola made the advantage more comfortable. But Martin Allen could still unleash what he calls the weapon. Thankfully, that's just teenager Sam Muggleton's massive throw, which fellow debutant Nathan Nyafli powered home as the leaders' young side went down fighting, much to their manager's delight. While they're on the sunbeds, Burton will do battle with Bradford in the playoffs, and Zola and co will surely need to be at their most clinical against Phil Parkinson's Cup specialists.
Well, it was Burton's highest ever league finish, but what about those outside the top 6, or even the top 7?
I think Paul Tisdale will be disappointed at Exeter that they fell away a little bit near the end. Chesterfield made a late run, you know, so there's nobody outside there that really should have been in it.
We'll finish tonight by saying well done to the only one of our teams who earned the right to be called 2012-2013 champions. Good night.
Long ball over the top, good ball from Gregory. Kemwell inside the area, shoots, goes in, goal! Danny Kemwell! That's it! Gills are promoted!
It's been my dream all my life since I was a little kid. It's just a dream come true.
The goals have been set. Number one, there was obviously the promotion. It's been a fantastic achievement by all the players, all the staff, and the backing of the chairman. We've got a few games now to try and finish it.
The sun sets, we can cry over. Put troubles on the road. But more than all, these miracles above. Good people, we got love.
The players have shown right through the year they deserve to be the champions.
Everybody needs a love, 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 love. Everybody needs a love. the best team in League 2 this season. They are champions.
We've made some history. It's a great feeling. I'm very, very proud of all the players. I'm very, very happy for all the supporters. To be the champions is unbelievable.